Hello, and a very warm welcome from the York Group of Sessions for the General Synod of the Church of England. You're about to see a summary of the debates from your team from the Manchester Diocese to tell you a little bit about what we've been doing over the last couple of days. Hope you enjoy it.
Saturday's main business was a presidential address from the Archbishop of Canterbury. Just afterwards, we broke up into small groups to discuss the Archbishop's words. Later in the day, we discussed mission action planning for the national church, and I caught up with Bishop Nigel to see what he thought about these issues and others for the Manchester Diocese.
So, Bishop, can you tell us a little bit about what this group of sessions means for the Manchester Diocese?
I think this group of sessions is a rather important aperitif, if you like, to what's going to happen a year from now. And the situation in which the Manchester Diocese may find itself, particularly over women bishops, is almost unique in the Church of England. Because if the voting were to go in a particular way next year, then the potential fragmentation of our diocese could exceed that of probably any other. And so, in a sense, a sort of bonding, which I see as being rather a feature of this particular synod, is quite important. And I rather liked the idea of the groups, though I rather wish we'd had perhaps more substantial things to talk about in them. But it did enable people who are relatively new to the synod from Manchester to get to know other people. And I think in any kind of debates that we have, a lot of people who come from a particular diocese learn a huge amount by listening to what the experience is in another. And I think that the Manchester group here representing our diocese has got quite a job to be able to persuade people from other parts of the Church of England that our exceedingly diverse diocese has a tremendous enrichment because of that. And that there are certain things that would be quite important for us not to lose, whatever way particular voting goes.
So Sharon, you were part of the group sessions that we had on Saturday morning. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you were doing?
The group work was an opportunity for us to get to know one another. It was an opportunity to discuss the Archbishop's address, in which he talked a lot about God not abandoning us, and we were asked to consider what that meant to us in our own situations where we came from, and what that meant to our communities, which is very interesting, being a very diverse group from all over the country.
Because we were split up into representatives from all the different dioceses, weren't we?
All different dioceses, people from different traditions, people you wouldn't normally necessarily gravitate towards for conversation over a cup of coffee or lunch. And we had to sit together and discuss matters. We did Bible study together, which was also good.
The controversial fees order, which was to bring in an increased standard level of fee for weddings and funerals, was voted down.
So, Cherry, what's your take on the fees drama?
Well, I was pleased with the outcome. I think the representations from Manchester, Sharon's very good speech, and the amendments that you had put in clearly signalled that this was not something that was going to go down very well in Manchester at all. So I think, I guess there'll be quite a lot of relief in our diocese that it was voted down. Is that your take?
Definitely. I thought Sharon spoke really well about it, and that would have helped my amendments hugely if we'd got to it. But I think it was a better outcome that it was sent away to be reconsidered and then brought back again.
Yeah.
On Sunday morning, members of the General Synod joined the congregation of York Minster to celebrate the Eucharist. Later in the afternoon, they debated the impact of increased higher education fees on the preparation of ordinands.
So, John, you were sitting in on the finance debate. Anything interesting coming out of that?
I didn't have a lot of issues with the actual finance report or anything like that, but one of the members, who's a deaf person, actually got up and spoke about the loss of a post for the national chaplaincy for the deaf and disabled people, and it was something that it's obviously a cut that's been included in the finances for the coming year, but wasn't actually in the report. So it's a bit underhanded sort of an action. And there was a couple of other people who then stood up in support.
And one of them was the Archdeacon of Rochdale.
The Archdeacon of Rochdale.
So Michael, later, just after you spoke, we had a motion put forward by the London Diocese that asked the Archbishop's Council to look into the possibility of changing the way we elect the House of Laity for the Diocesan Synod and for the General Synod.
Yeah, that was a strange motion coming at this time. They were asking for the General Synod to be elected by members of the Church of England other than deanery synod reps. It came out later in the debate that there is currently a revision committee coming forward on this, but we still went ahead with this motion anyhow.
Well, you see, I spoke in that debate and I supported it, but you were quite hesitant, weren't you?
Yeah, partly because in the recent General Synod elections, which elected us to this August body, in Manchester, only 44–45% of the people eligible to vote actually voted. And I don't think changing the people who vote is the thing, it's changing the mindset of people to get rid of the apathy, to realise that this is important and to actually utilise their vote.
It's interesting, you see, I would really like to see some changes happen. For one thing, I think the reason the deanery synods aren't voting very much is because they didn't get onto deanery synod to elect a general synod member. And we don't really have a very close link between somebody in the parish and somebody at General Synod here. So to my mind, if we could use the internet or some other way to get a one-man, one-vote arrangement, so everybody on the electoral register was allowed to vote, something like that, or some other way, I think actually you would have a much more exciting campaign and a lot more people actually wanting to get involved in it. So, Christine, you were sitting in on the debate about minority ethnic Anglican concerns.
That's
Can you
right.
tell us a bit about that?
What really attracted me was the disparity in the numbers, really, between minority ethnic Anglicans who are in parishes and the number of clergy and representations at senior level.
And did the Synod vote through any action to deal with that?
Yes, what they want to do is actually, there have been good intentions for 20 years, lots of good reports. What they want to do is take something called positive intentionality, which means that you actually look for people with potential for leadership and you help them to find training if they need training, something to give them confidence so that they're then in a position to take up posts when they're available.
So that's it from General Synod here at the University of York. Over the next couple of weeks and months we'll be coming around to have a discussion about what went on in these debates and also to talk about the next group of sessions which will be happening in February. Hope you've enjoyed it. Do let us know what you think.